Gas prices are at 20-year lows in Florida. That's just great, but as we all know, it can change on the dime with a crisis overseas, especially in the Middle East. Now President Trump is proposing opening the Atlantic, including Florida's east coast, to oil exploration and drilling. Does that mean the Gulf Coast would be next? Kate Flexter is here with more. Kate.
Thanks, Alan. Advocates say it's a great step for our economy, but environmentalists say it opens the door to a possible catastrophe like the BP oil spill.
For more than 30 years, the Atlantic coast has sat relatively untouched, with no oil or gas drilling in those waters since the early 1980s. But that could soon change. The Trump administration is taking steps to allow 5 energy companies to begin oil and natural gas exploration from Delaware Bay to Cape Canaveral, Florida.
Our country is blessed with incredible natural resources, including abundant offshore oil and natural gas reserves. But the federal government has kept 94% of these offshore areas closed for exploration and production.
As one of his last moves in office, President Obama passed an executive order banning offshore drilling in parts of the Arctic and Atlantic Oceans, a last-minute attempt to block President Trump from expanding offshore drilling and to prevent environmental disasters like the BP oil spill.
I share people's concerns about offshore drilling. I remember the BP spill in the Gulf of Mexico all too well.
It's a concern shared by environmental advocates like Justin Bloom.
Accidents happen that something like another devastating oil spill might occur, and that would create havoc.
In the BP oil spill of 2010, it took 87 days to cap the well, leaking more than 170 million gallons of oil into the Gulf. In the process, the commercial fishing industry lost an estimated $247 million, and the tourism industry lost $22.7 billion. Even beach towns that weren't directly impacted by the spill could feel the effects. Bloom worries a catastrophe on the East Coast would have similar results.
Imagine what a Canadian or German or British tourist is going to imagine when they see soiled beaches on the East Coast. They're going to think that Florida is not a place that they're going to want to travel to.
Plus, energy companies use the controversial seismic testing, which shoots loud blasts into the ocean floor to map its geology. Environmentalists say it's harmful to marine life, destroying ecosystems and interfering with mammal-to-mammal communication.
They will downplay the impact of it and say that it's just a mild noise, but it's like a continuous thunderstorm for months.
But while some argue it's a bad step for our environment, others say it's a great step for our economy, creating jobs and independence from foreign oil.
Probably the biggest thing you're going to find by sourcing our energy locally is it's going to drive down cost. It is going to make things cheaper.
USF economics instructor Michael Snipes says driving down that cost has the potential to create a positive ripple effect through our entire economy.
Oil and petroleum products are things that almost every industry uses. And so if we make those things cheaper, it's going to make costs lower for the industries that use those goods.
But Snipes says it would also increase competition among energy companies and could lead to an expansion of offshore drilling in the Gulf as well. The Gulf is currently under a moratorium banning oil and natural gas drilling within 125 miles of the coast. But that's set to expire in the year 2022.
That would certainly put pressure on companies that have wells in the Gulf to increase production, maybe go out deeper.
That's exactly Bloom's concern.
I think what's happening on the eastern coast is going to embolden the oil industry to try to push for more exploration and ultimately drilling in the Gulf.
As for the Pacific coast, it's been closed to this kind of exploration since the late 1960s.
Kate, thank you.